Have you ever noticed how if you add up all the listeners you get on Spotify day by day, that it adds up to substantially more than what Spotify says are your monthly listeners? Well, I never wondered this before, but I've gotten so many comments asking me why this is that I thought I should just make a video so that I could explain it. Because it's a good question, but it has a very simple explanation, and Spotify doesn't explain this. So Spotify, feel free to link to this video if people ask you this question as well. So, for example, if I look here, this is my lowest streamed day this last month, right? 2,000 listeners on this day. So I'll just use that as an example. So we get 28 days on this calendar. If we multiply 2,000 times 28, that's 56,000 listeners. So why does this say 34? Well, to kind of explain that to you, let's do a simple thought experiment. If you had one person listening on this day, right? One human, one listener on one account, and then they listen every day for the entire month. Should that person be 28 listeners? It's the same person, but they're listening every day. So they will show up as one monthly listener for all 28 days, but up here, it'll only show one monthly listener. And that's because it's one person doing it for the entire month. And that's why this doesn't add up. So the reason why this is less is because the difference is reflected by how many recurring listeners you have. If a person listens to you 10 days out of a month, they're not 10 monthly listeners, they're still just one. So this is actually 34,461 unique monthly listeners, which is different from a daily listener count added up for the month. But while you're here, I want to address another common question that I get, since this video is like 2 minutes long at the moment. So if I go into music and I go into, let's say, I don't know, we'll do my newest song again and again, just because it'll be at the top of my other list. If I go into playlists, you can see it's on top 19 of 41 playlists for this song. Cool. Now if I go back to music and I go to releases, and then I click on the album or release level for the song, you're going to see I have 160 playlist ads. How am I on 160 playlists, and how is one of them before the song even came out? When the other place said 41, like, why is that such a big difference? And this also has a simple explanation. If we go back into here and we look at playlists and we look at all of these, you'll notice they all have at least 2 streams. And there's also another part of this that you actually have to open up the phone app to be able to see. So let me see if I can make a phone recording on here that I can just send to myself and add to the video. So I'm recording my phone. We see this page for the song. If I scroll down to the bottom, we see playlist. If I click see all, if I go to the bottom, showing 19 of 41 playlists, which is exactly what we see on here, 19 of 41. Playlists appear the day after multiple listeners play your music. So that's what, I believe that's what the 19 is. It's showing 19 because 2 people have to listen to the playlist. So if one person's listening to a playlist, it never shows up on that 19. It's still part of the 41 though. So I believe the difference between the 41 and the 160 is that means the other 120 people haven't listened to your song in that playlist yet. And I should probably stop this recording. And so the reason why they wouldn't have listened yet is because the way that a lot of people interact with music on Spotify. A lot of people will add their song to a gym playlist, to a driving playlist, to a work playlist they listen to all day at work. It might be 10 hours long, and they just added it to the end. And so over time, you'll start seeing streams come in from that category, listeners' own playlist and library, and that'll be from those playlisters. But they might not listen to it in the first period of time. Like they may have added it, but they didn't listen to it yet, at least. So that's why that number doesn't add up either, because there's a few different ways. Like, why does it only show me that amount? Because only one person's listened to it. They don't show that, probably for privacy reasons. And then why do I have this big discrepancy between the release level and the single level? And that's because they probably just haven't listened to it yet. But at least it's reflected that it was added. It just doesn't show up yet in stream source because it hasn't been streamed yet. Now, another pro tip for those of you still watching, because this video is still kind of short, if I go into audience engagement on here, we can look at various other factors we can look at a profile level. So my audience engagement, and now we can see for our whole profile, streams per listener. So this means that on average, people listen to my music 3.5 times, whether that's 3.5 different songs on average or the same song 3.5 times, it doesn't matter. We can see saves and playlist ads. Now that's all cool, but let's say we wanted to look at listeners. We can segment by people who listened on algorithmic sources. And then now we get an exact stream count day by day for algorithmic sources. And so you can see certain spikes. Like this is Monday, this is Discover Weekly. And if we looked at the overview, you can see what that spike is. So this is another way you can confirm where your streams are coming from on a day-by-day basis. This is also very useful if you're a larger artist or you're using playlist campaigns alongside Facebook ads. You can separate out, other listeners' playlists and artist profile and catalog and listeners' own playlist and library, at least for the profile level. So you can see, like, if you're running a playlist campaign, which I guess in this case is the bottom green line. This one is listeners' own playlist and library, and then pink is artist profile and catalog. You can see, like, as your ads and your playlisting is going day by day, how is it affecting stats on your profile level as a whole? Because otherwise it's really hard to separate the two and figure out which one is actually growing your presence on streaming platforms. And you can also do that for editorial and radio and algorithm, everything else as well, which is a really cool feature they added in the last several months. So anyways, if you want to learn more about how you can market your music on Spotify, you can check out this playlist right here where I go through how to do it with Facebook ads, which is my preferred method, but also other ways as well. And if you want to see whatever YouTube thinks you should watch, check out this video right here. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.